Yes, what's good, everybody? So, quick shit vid. Might end up getting a bit more of a long shit vid this one, but there's just a few things that I want to go over. How's everybody doing, first and foremost? I don't know if anybody's seen this, but Danny Mills has come out in a story, and I've just been watching podcasts, and to be honest, he's really pissed me off. Like, the thing is, well, I'll tell the story first. People might have read it. It's been about yesterday, and then I've just watched podcasts. It's like 15 minutes long. Just watched it. If anybody wants a link or whatever, I'll link them. So it was obviously when he played for Leeds in 2002 World Cup. He went and played like 4 games and got so above his station you wouldn't believe. Like, I thought it was an absolute world beat. It's just how he's speaking. Well, I'll come to that anyway. But so he signed a 5-year contract with Leeds 2 days before we went into like financial meltdown, which is not his problem. And he was pushing for a deal, this ridiculous deal. So he went into Ridsdale. Well, firstly, he says in this podcast that he told the Sun, he didn't say this, but this is what he insinuated, that he told the Sun that Middlesbrough had put £6-7 million bid in for him to like strengthen his negotiation in contract. Again, I haven't got much of a problem with that due to the fact that, he's just a footballer, it's business, he's trying to look after himself. It's just the fashion in which way he came across. He comes across like a dickhead. So Middlesbrough are apparently interested, Rangers are apparently interested. It was on 18 grand, so he went into Ridsdale, who's obviously a tit as well, and asked for 65 grand, and Ridsdale said no chance type of thing, but they wound him down. He said that he would have signed for 25, and the way he were talking, he seemed to have got more. But again, that is not the problem I've got with him, because that's just money and stuff. It's all the stuff afterwards he was on about. What a dick. And he's on about like Middlesbrough, because obviously he ends up going. So he signs this deal, and apparently like this guy had come in to sort our finances out because we're going into total meltdown at this point. And this Gadge comes into, everything goes through him apparently. This is what Danny Mills was saying. Before any deal's signed, it goes through me, comes across this desk. And then it were in newspaper 2 days later that Danny Mills has signed his 5-year contract. Now, again, that's not his fault. It's not his problem because he signed it 6 months prior and it was all like backlogged and stuff. But it's just the way he comes across. So then, yeah, so he was on about like, they want Middlesbrough want him for 6 million and all this, and he's going away on it. Keep calling it international duty. Like, I don't think there's anybody other than Leeds fans ever knew he even played a game for England. I don't think if you named the first 100 England players that came to your mind, it would not be Danny Mills. So he's on about like, Blackburn are interested. So this is when it had all gone into meltdown, and he'd gone on loan to Middlesbrough, right? And Middlesbrough, he was saying how good they, like, if you're going to bang on about a club, don't go to Middlesbrough then, because this might be. I saw Gary Neville actually talking the other day about getting to semi-finals. I don't know if anybody saw this in World Cup. And Stuart Pearce were in. I mean, I think Stuart Pearce is a bit of a dick and all, but he were in the changing room and he said to Gary Neville, like, be careful here because this might be as good as it gets type of thing. And they got knocked out at semis. This might be as good as it gets. And that's the impression I got off Mills. I thought, you really think you're on this level, man? And you're actually pretty lucky to be playing right back for Leeds here because at the time, we're doing extremely well. Obviously, we folded. But while he was saying it, I thought, no, hang on, pal, this might be as good as it gets for you. And long behold, it was. Because he went to Middlesbrough, and then he sort of suggested that they wanted to try get him on a free, because Leeds were going down that year. But they didn't want to pay £1.5 million, and he's going, £1.5 million, it's a bargain, it's a bargain. They had like Mendieta and stuff playing for him, like, with the greatest respect, Danny, not on that level. So, he's going, it's a bargain, it's a bargain. Which £1.5 million potentially is a bargain, but I think he thinks he's more of an international player than he actually is. But it's just how it's so one-sided, everything that he says. And like I say, so Blackburn are interested while in between going to, they're on loan from Leeds to Middlesbrough. Leeds don't want him back. Middlesbrough only want him if it's for free. Blackburn come in for him, that deal falls through, so they don't want him. Birmingham come in, that deal falls through because they don't want him. So I thought, and no disrespect to Blackburn, Middlesbrough and Birmingham, but again, we're in total different stratosphere here. You are making a huge drop. I understand them clubs at the time in the Premiership and we're going down, so I understand that. I'm not saying we're a bigger club always, even in the Championship, but you're not looking at like Man U, are you? Or like, even though I hate Man U, but where you'd go, oh, fair enough, man, I want to go to that club. So every team, anyway, Man City end up buying him, and for any young fans, like proper young fans, I say fans, I don't mean of me, I mean of football that are watching this. they have not always been good, shall we say. So they was absolutely dog meat for years. So he signed for Man City. Anyway, he ended up going to Hull on loan. He ended up somewhere else, Charlton or something. So believe me, pal, playing in Champions League for us were as good as it got for you. So chill your fucking beans. And then he were on about then he were like bragging about his contract and how he dug his heels in. And he said to Ridsdale, oh, whoever chairman were at the time, well, I love this club and that. I thought, well, it doesn't sound like you do. And like I say, I know you've got to do what's best for you, and I fully understand it. It's a contract that he wants honouring and all this stuff. It was just the fashion in which way we're talking, and I thought, you're a dick slap now. Do you know what I mean? Apparently he lives in Leeds and stuff, and he was saying that and I'm sure he does. I'm sure he had really fond times at the club, but it just seemed like one of them penises that you meet, and you just think, you're an absolute dick. Do you know what I mean? Like a money-hungry wanker. So he said he was the last one to leave out of them all, and they all obviously jumped ship. But I don't know, I just think some things are better off either not saying or just be a little bit more polite. There's a lot of people involved, and I don't care about the money side of it and that we went into turmoil. It's not Danny Mills' fault. But at one point he's sort of bragging that he could have dug his heels in even further and gone into Championship with us. And then whenever he wanted, he could have bankrupted us by saying he wants the rest of his contract, even when he'd moved on. So he moved on and he was still getting paid while he was at Man City. He was still getting paid from Leeds and stuff. He came across like an absolute dick. Just watch it if you want, but something about that bloke's attitude. Typical fucking, I don't know. Yeah, so that's my rant over. It just, you know when something winds you up, it got to me. But, on a lighter note, rant over, apologies. On a lighter note, 9,000 Leeds fans have, I don't know if anybody's seen this, but they've all voted. I didn't actually see the voting. I'd have been up for voting on this. And they voted for like the player at year. So the shortlist was Ayling, Bamford, Dallas, Phillips and Rafinha. So in backwards order, Phillips came last. Obviously they were voting for everybody, but Phillips came in to not last, but fifth. Ayling came fourth. Bamford came third. Then Rafinha came second and Dallas came top. Bosh. But Dallas won by 35 points allegedly. So that bears my question to you guys. Who's your player at season? Thus far, I'll do obviously at end of year. I'm going to do like a proper video on that, I reckon. We'll have a chat about it because that is interesting, isn't it? Like who's player at year for everybody. But I don't think any of them five you can argue with really. Although I think Ayling's dropped off slightly past few weeks and Phillips has really pushed on again. But just with his injuries and stuff. Yeah, so that's that. And then my final point is Carlton Palmer's now weighing in on Rodrigo. But I'm going to do, we're on Wednesday today, so I'm going to do a video tomorrow on Rodrigo like fully and try break it down a little bit and get that conversation going because everybody seems to want to talk about it. So yeah, how's it going? Sorry for having a bit of a bitch tits rant about Danny Mills, but it really pissed me off. If anybody wants to see it, I'll link it. But yeah, wasn't overly keen on him. Nice one. Take it easy.
I don't wanna play no games. No, I don't wanna play no games. No, I don't wanna hear your promises. You do you and I'll do me. That's just the way it is. Don't wanna ever feel surprised. That's why I ask no.